Welcome back to the Tracy Take. Today, Ryan and I will be doing part 4 in our little mini series called Season Review, and we will be talking about the New York Jets. But before we get into that, Ryan and I, we have a goal of getting to 400 subscribers by Super Bowl weekend. That is about 3 weeks away now, so any help would be greatly appreciated. So if you have not already subscribed to this channel, like this video, comment, let us know what you think the Jets have to do in the offseason to win the Super Bowl next year. And Ryan, let's get into it. The Jets, they are definitely clearly in a rebuilding mode, and I think we can say from the get go they hit a lot of things on that that went well for them. I think they got the right coach for the team. I think Zack Wilson showed immense improvement over his time playing there. Still, obviously, a lot of work to do as well. And there's a couple other goods, but I want to send it over to you. What were some of the good things that the Jets made sure to make a priority in the 2021 draft, 2021 offseason that worked well for them this year?
So I think the 2021 draft for the New York Jets was a complete hit. Like they hit 4 players, I think, that contributed really well this year. Zack Wilson, Vera-tucker, Elijah Moore, and then Michael Carter, I think, are all guys that are going to contribute next season and into the future. And so I think they have a good foundation. I want to highlight Zack Wilson. I think overall, Zack Wilson played well. Especially in the second half of the season, kind of when he came back from injury. Go away. I'm making a video. Sorry, my dog is licking my arm as a
little cameo.
Yeah, but I especially in the last month, he didn't throw an interception, and he just really started to play. I don't want to say boring football, but he just really started to play and take what the defense gave him as the season went on, and that's kind of the progression you want to see. So, disregarding the numbers, I think Zack Wilson played well. And then also, too, having the number 11 ranked offensive line was very good. But one of the things, in my opinion, that they did really well, every starter had an above-average PFF grade. And that is considering the fact that Mekhi Becton did not play for most of the season.
Yes. Are you talking about on the offensive line?
I think he played like 3 games.
You're talking about on the offensive line?
Yeah, offensive
line.
Okay.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and without Mekhi Becton, they still had the 11th ranked offensive line. So when he comes back next season, I think that offensive line will go into it being a top 10 offensive line. Which having a young quarterback and creating a run game is very crucial. So those are just a couple of things that I think they did really well. Do you have what else do you think that they did well?
So continuing off of that is I will say the depth, especially talking about Elijah Moore. He was the number 1 receiver in yards, and also led the team in receiving touchdowns as well. So he only had 538 yards through 11 games, I will say. But as a team, though, they had 5 guys with over 400 receiving yards, and I think that's actually really good to see. And it was very spread out, a lot of different options moving forward, which is going to be good, I think, for that team as they continue to get better. And they're all relatively young. Keelan Cole is 28, and so is Jameson Crowder. But Corey Davis is still 26, Braxton Berrios is 26, and Elijah Moore is only 21. So he's younger than you and I. So I think a lot of good came out on the offensive side of the ball. And especially, you said, like the 4 picks that were hit out of the park, they were all offensive players.
Yeah.
So I think that they've done a really good job on the offensive side of the ball. When I think that's going to kind of segue into the bad on the defensive side on the ball. They need to now really start to address the defense, and that's what I think this draft needs to be. They have all the pieces, as I said, that is there. The offensive line is picked up, which is what you need. Like you need to have a good offensive line, something that we'll talk about with the other New York team in a future episode. And when it comes to the defense side of the ball, they were last in points allowed per game on the defensive side, giving up 29.6 points per game. They only had a couple of players with multiple picks on the season, 2 or the most. So I think for me, it was just a bad as a whole on there. They did have two players that had 6 sacks. It was their defensive tackles, John Franklin Myers and then
Mhm.
Quinnen Williams. So it's good to see that there is still some
Yeah.
sack production, but they're going to want to get better in the edge rushing department, linebacking core, cornerbacking core,
Yeah.
safety core, uh, all that stuff, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much, like, they can improve on all 3 levels of the
Yeah,
defense, which luckily for them, this is a pretty defensive heavy
yeah.
draft. So definitely gonna be a lot of guys that I
Hmm.
think that they can target, going forward. But yeah, kinda like you said, worst ranked team defense giving up 29.6 points a
Yeah.
game, I think.
Hmm.
And, they did have a few injuries. Gerard Davis was one, and then, oh, I forget who the edge rusher that they maybe it was Gerard Davis. Uh, but 30th pass, 29th in I can't tell if that's a 4 or 9, but I think it's 29th in run. Uh, and one of the things that I will say, I think Robert Saleh did an okay job with what he had.
Hmm.
They did not have a lot of defensive talent coming into the season, and they did improve as the year went on. A lot of their numbers were skewed
Yeah.
slightly because of what happened early on in the season where they just kind of got beat down by a few teams.
Yeah.
So I think that there is a lot of room to build, but there are some good pieces, kind of like you said. Uh, Now, draft and free agency. What do you think, like, free agency wise? What do you think that they should do? I mean, do you think like they're kind of in just add good player mode, or do you think they're going to target a couple positions?
Yeah, and so what I think that they should really focus on addressing in the offseason, it should be all primarily defense. But I will say one thing before I get to that on
Hmm.
the offensive side of the ball. I know I mentioned the receiver depth that they have, but if they would want to spend a couple extra bucks to get a more serious veteran threat, now that I don't think Corey Davis is, but just
Hmm.
another receiver threat to help out with Zack Wilson. Another thing that the other defense has to think about, because I think Elijah Moore is going to continue to grow. You still have Corey
Oh, you
Davis,
there?
Braxton Berrios. It's going to be great. Then you have that receiving room with Keelan Cole and Jamison Crowder as well.
Resume.
As those guys get older, they might fall off just on performance wise, and then have this other talented receiver there that you could maybe pay $8 to $10 million a year for over the next couple of years. That'd be a solid receiving room that you have. Everything else, though, outside of that, I think they need to address on the defensive side. They're picking 4th overall. I think they are at a best defensive player available mode. If one of the top 2 edge rushers, Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau, is there, take him. If they think whoever's better between Andrew Booth or Derek Stingley Jr., they're both will be available in the 4th round. And heck, I don't think you should double up. It depends on
Hmm.
who's there, but there are going to be guys like George Karlaftis that should be available at their 10th pick. David Ajobi that is also going to be available at their 10th pick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of defensive talent that they can get in these first 2 picks. Also, then they have 2 picks in the 2nd round as well that are almost back to back, so they can really hone in on the defense and get a lot of young talent that they can groom and grow for future seasons.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going to say about their free agency. I think they should do a best player available approach to free agency and just try to get
Hmm.
good value. But really, I think in free agency, if they could add maybe another offensive guard to play right guard, because that right side of the offensive line is starting to
Yeah.
age. Maybe add like another running back piece, because outside of Michael Carter, I'm not sure about their
Hmm.
running back depth. Or maybe if there's a tight end in free agency that they want to target, and just like kind of filling out good pieces, and they have extra cap space, so they can
Yeah.
splurge a little, and and then this draft is so defensive heavy that, I mean, in the 3rd round, I think you could get, like, in the first 3 rounds with 5 picks. I mean, you could completely rebuild a
Yeah.
whole defense, and so. Uh, I do think they are in the market for a linebacker, and I think 10 would be a prime spot to take the best
Hmm.
linebacker available. Another guy, too, so whether you think Stingley or Andrew Booth Jr. is the best corner, I think Kyle Hamilton
Yep.
is a safety. I know safety is a less valuable position, but he's just a freak athlete at, I think, 6'4",
Hmm.
215, and is probably going to run somewhere in the low 4.4s, high 4.3s. So I think they're in a really good position for a rebuild, and I'm excited. Even though I'm a Patriots fan, I am excited to kind of see what the Jets do to build out this roster, because I think they might be putting together something pretty neat. So yeah, but I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Tracy Take. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Tyler and I do have a goal of trying to hit 400 subscribers by the Super Bowl. So if you could help us reach that goal, that would be very much appreciated. And other than that, I think we're going to see y'all next time.